ready. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Let's get ready to rumble! Seattle's got to make a stop. Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to throw it back to Goff! Who had that on the bingo card? Touchdown Lions!
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
What's up? It's your boy, Main Event Mike. Smooth as a baby's bottom. Final preseason game is in the books for the Detroit Lions. Now it's time to look ahead, and let's look ahead to the regular season 2025 as they start their march for a third in a row division title and maybe finally get over that hump and get to a Super Bowl. Let's hope. Welcome everyone to the program. Say hello in the comments because that's what they're for. That's what this show is about. It's an interactive show. We talk about football, not just the Detroit Lions. You want to talk about your team? If that's not the Lions, put a comment in. We'll do that. We are broadcasting live into the 360 Radio Network. You can go to 360radionetwork.com and check out our live broadcast, or also in the feed if you want to put a comment in. If you're watching live or if you're going to watch on the rebroadcast, please put a comment in. I love to come back even after the show and interact with the audience. That's what I'm here for. Also broadcasting live into our own Facebook page called The Main Event. It's got this little cartoon lion on it holding a football and this beautiful picture of Matt Patricia. If you notice, there's a little pencil there too. Be sure to follow our page if you haven't done so already. Really appreciate you. Also broadcasting live into the Huddle Sports Network on Roku TV. Big thanks to Bill the Packer fan. Also, broadcasting live into Motor City Kneecap Biters YouTube. If that's where you're watching, put it in the comment and say hello. Be sure to hit the emoji, a heart, a like, something. You know how it works, right? If you don't know, that's how it works. You hit a like, you hit an emoji, and Facebook goes, yeah, this guy's okay. So hit that check mark if you like the content that you see today. Big thanks to Jeremy B for letting us broadcast into the Motor City Kneecap Biters as well. And the Huddle Sports Network YouTube channel. Thanks for anybody who might be watching there as well. Got some in the comments already. Da Papa, Ken Ballreich in the house says, hey, Mike, what's up? Matt Henry says, good evening, sir. And Davey, as always, a real trooper and definitely Mariska Hargitay. Definitely appreciate you, Davey, every single week. So much more than I think I'll ever be able to express to you. We're also going to bring in a special guest today. The one and only Mr. Jeremy B will be here today. I'm sure you watch him all over the internet. He's everywhere at once, everywhere and anywhere at once, it seems like. Shout out to Main Event Mike from Broski Bear, our favorite Bear fan that doesn't live in Chicago. Broski, I've never actually seen you, so I don't know if you have the obligatory mustache to be a Bears fan. I'm skeptical that you're even a real Bears fan if you don't have the stash. And we have yet to see if you have the stash. Oh, and it's Elise Memes in the house. Hi, Mike. Great to see you. Emily Ingram. I'm sorry. It's Emily Ingram in the house. It's not who I said it was. Great to see you as well. Thanks so much for being here. So what I want to talk about today, show is on Mondays, folks. Monday happens to be the day that Dan Campbell made his first roster cuts today. Some players were waived and some players were released. And after reading the back chats, the private chats that I'm in today, it occurred to me that a lot of people do not know the difference between waived and released. So I'm going to explain it to you now. Even though I know my audience, you guys are all knowledgeable football people. You know how I know? Because you've been here since June watching a football program. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and explain it for those who might not know, or for anyone who might be a little fuzzy on what it means. In the NFL, if you are on a 53-man roster for 6 weeks, any 6 weeks, they don't have to be in a row. In any one season, if you're on that 53-man roster for 6 games, That is called a vested year or an accrued year. And once you get to 4 of those, 4 accrued years, you cannot be waived. You are released or cut. They mean the same thing. Cut or release. And you instantly become a free agent. Now, what's the big difference? The big difference is the Lions have to buy out your contract to do that. You are an instant free agent, and the team is saying, we don't want you. They now have to pay you. If you are waived, you become subject to the waiver wire, where other teams have a chance to pick you up, and they now are on the hook for your contract. So it behooves the NFL team to waive players that are within that window of not having 4 vested years, because the other team will pick up the bill. But there is a caveat. If a player goes to the waiver wire and is picked up by another team, he cannot be rostered on their practice squad. He has to be rostered on their 53-man roster. That's where the interesting talking points start to come in. Hendon Hooker was released today. Will Hendon Hooker clear waivers? Excuse me, he was waived today because he does not have 4 vested years in the NFL. So he was waived. So all the other teams have a chance now to pick up his contract, but they would have to sign him to the 53-man roster. Dan Campbell said the other day that he don't think Brad Holmes has ever been wrong. When Brad Holmes says a player's not going to clear waivers, or when Brad Holmes says a player is going to clear waivers, he's been right 10 out of 10, 100%, according to Dan Campbell. So, the coach was asked, how do you know whether or not these guys are going to clear waivers? And he said, you don't. But I can tell you, I lean on Brad Holmes for that, and Brad's never been wrong. Tom Kennedy's been waived 9 times before today. Make it 10, because Tom Kennedy was released, not waived, released today. He's been released multiple times and waived multiple times by the Detroit Lions. 9 times in all, Tom Kennedy's been kicked off this team, and each time he comes back. It's absolutely expected that Tom Kennedy will clear waivers and come back to the practice squad. They have a ton of confidence in him. He emulates that slot receiver, that short receiver over the middle that the Lions face all throughout the year. Zay Flowers in Baltimore, Jaden Reed in Green Bay. He's great to have on the practice squad to prepare for these kinds of players. Another guy released, Jackson Meeks. He was waived. Now, he may not clear waivers after the performance that he put in the preseason. And he's Zadarius Smith's nephew. Maybe you get a 2-for-1 if you're another team and you can pick up Jackson Meeks and have to put him on the 53-man. And then maybe Z will come over and play for your team as well. The amazing Tom Kennedy from Emily Ingram, absolutely. So there's the difference, waived and released. Cut is a broad term. You can be cut and also waived. You can be cut and also released. So don't let that word cut add confusion. You're either waived or you're released, depending on the amount of service that you have. So I hope that clears that up for anybody who didn't know. We have a whole list of players that were waived, and we have a whole list of players that were released. And we are going to bring in our good friend Jeremy Ballreich to talk about that right now. Welcome to the program, Jeremy B.
Hey, I got to do this for Smoking Dad because every time I see him, I got to do it. And it actually, Tom Kennedy was released, not waived, because he's already had the max amount of,
Yeah, that he's actually been waived and released. This is now the 10th time by the Lions he's been let go. Like I said, cut is a broad term. So for Tom Kennedy, we can say he's been cut 10 times.
And Uncle Rumble's in the house too. Lions Rumble 81.
Lions Rumble, been a while. Welcome back to the program.
Yeah. So
waived means you don't get paid. Not true, Lion Rumble. Waived means you go to the waiver wire. And if no one picks you up, the Lions have a chance to sign him to the practice squad, but they would still then have to pay the remainder of any contract that he signed if he's not picked up on waivers and you don't sign him to the practice squad. So you do still get paid. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Okay, so the three that are not on my list, so that makes it harder, is Broderick Martin, Nate Lynn, and Miles Adams, which were all waivers. So that's where that is. They were waived. They got a chance to come back to the practice squad. Will Broderick Martin be brought back to the practice squad? Probably hell no. But anyways,
well,
me and you both said that, but he might because
let me ask what you mean by that, Jeremy. Do you mean that if he clears waivers, the Lions would not bring him to the practice squad?
Yeah, because he still clears cap because he was a late third round pick. He clears cap to get rid of him, even though it's only $250,000. That's $250,000 less than they would have to pay him. You know what I'm saying?
So that $250, if they bring him back, or if he clears waivers, they're going to have to pay that $250. But if another team were to pick him up, they would have to pay that $250.
Right, and it doesn't count against us at all. The whole salary. His salary is actually like $1.5 million as a late third round pick.
Well, I think this is so interesting, and I'm so glad you brought up Broderick Martin. Hendon Hooker, Broderick Martin, both third-round draft picks, which is, look, folks, that's a high draft pick, a third-rounder. When you look at trade value, third-rounders carry a lot of weight. Like 2 fifth-rounders equals a third-rounder in trade value. So that is a significant loss. Broderick Martin and Hendon Hooker, that's 2 third-round picks that Brad Holmes missed. He doesn't miss very often, folks, but he missed here.
So we can say that there's 4 now because we re-signed somebody who went straight to the IR this year in Levi Amuzariki. You have to say that's a medical miss, correct?
No, well, not yet because he's still under contract.
Just for this season.
Lions Rumble here. We're saying the same thing, Lion Rumble. We are saying the same thing. Yep. We've said that the team, if some team claims him off the waiver wire, they assume that contract, like you say here. If no other team claims the waived player,
we have to
the Lions would have to honor the remainder of the contract.
Right.
I looked it up today. So that's for sure. Ron in the house with the best 3 letters on the planet.
Jacob Sailors was actually cut because he was a UFL player we picked up later.
Yeah.
What's crazy is we actually waived Nick Whiteside.
Yep.
We waived Jacoby Keeney James. We waived Gunnar Oak. We waived Eric Hallett, which that surprised me because in the defensive back room, our 2 highest ones rated the whole entire season are both waived. That was him and Ian Kennelly. I thought for sure Ian Kennelly was in because Norris is on the 8-week IR due to his concussion because he didn't clear protocol last week. Mm-hmm. So I really thought he'd make the roster.
Veteran Anthony Pittman released along with Tom Kennedy today.
And Dan Skipper.
If you remember from Hard Knocks, Dan Skipper was released and he's still here. Now, Dan Skipper has just become an unrestricted free agent because he has more than 4 vested years.
Right.
So he is free to go sign with any team that he wants. But don't you have the sense that he can also sign with the Lions?
Right. He can sign with anybody.
Right.
And it might be to get out of the fact that it was his balloon payment year of the last year of his contract, because they backload all their contracts. He signed that 3-year contract when he came back. This was the balloon payment year, so they might be able to get him back at a discount.
Right, and let's hope so, because I think all the fans love Skipper. He's a great swing tackle. He's damn near 7 feet tall. He plays multiple positions. He's a player I definitely. And with our offensive line depth, he's a player I really didn't think was going to get cut in camp. I thought he was going to make it right on through.
But he actually had one of his worst preseasons for ranking as far as his blocking was this year. This year, he had a bad year showing in the preseason games. Jamarco Jones and Giovanni Manu excitedly had better rankings than he had.
So that's a good question. Do you think it's what Dan Skipper didn't do, or is it what someone else did that allowed them to jump him?
I think it's what the others did, because Manu also played guard, which makes him more versatile, because Dan Skipper, when he tried to play guard that one game, I shudder at it still. But anyways.
But he can play both tackles.
Right, he can play both tackles, and he's a swing tackle, and they also use him occasionally as an extra tight end.
Yeah. Dan Skipper reported, right.
Right. That being said, Mitchell Agudi, gone.
Which I believe he'll be back.
Yeah, I think he'll be back on the practice squad.
Agude played well for us.
Last year when we were hurt and we had to bring in the Legion of Whom squad, I mentioned as of Thanksgiving on, because that's what we became after all the injuries. We were the Legion of Whom. Every time we won, the Legion of Whom strikes again is what I put in.
It's awesome. I like this call by Broski Bear. I don't think Skipper takes the demotion. I think he heads to Chicago. And that brings up a whole other can of worms. How many of these players is Ben Johnson going to snatch up? Right?
Who knows? The ones that he knows of from last year that he liked, he may take up. Nate Lynn, our best pressure guy, 2 preseasons in a row, waived.
Yeah. And he had an injury last year. They loved him. And then you look at a guy like Trevor Nowaski, they waived him once and somebody picked him up and they went, damn it. They wanted him back. And then the next year he comes back and they actually signed him to a contract. So he's still on the squad.
He was actually on the practice squad through week 12. He was picked up off the practice squad when he came off of protection, is what happened. That was when Arizona got him in like week 12 to help him finish the season, because that was when what's his name, the safety / linebacker / cornerback got hurt for the rest of the season, Isaiah Simmons, when they had him still. So Eric Hallett and Ian Kennelly are my what the fuck waves from this right now, because they were our highest rated safeties that played in the preseason. Like,
but the safety room is pretty deep, Jeremy. And
I know
and that goes for Jacob Sailors. That kid looked great in the preseason as a young running back, but there's no room in the running back room for this kid to make the team.
Hey, Gibbs will play great. He has not let down. I love it, John.
Gordon. Because the Bears have a huge bust in Caleb Williams, Bears will sign Hooker, LOL. That goes to what we're saying. Ben Johnson's quite familiar with Hendon Hooker. But you know what? Tyson Bagent looks pretty damn good to me as a backup quarterback.
Yeah, it was funny what Ben said after that game, how it looks like Bagent reads the playbook and Caleb hasn't opened it.
Yeah. Wow. Those are strong words.
Coming from the head coach?
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep, and the Camp Cockroach, Kennedy was in that same thing, because didn't we give him a 2-year contract last year when we brought him back finally to the active roster? And it was kind of and it wasn't much of one, but it was a balloon payment this year.
Tom Kennedy had a broken back. He still made it back to the practice squad.
I know, it's crazy.
When the apocalypse comes, it's going to be a cockroach, Keith Richards, and Tom Kennedy. That's who's going to be left.
And maybe Dan Skipper.
Broski says, I like both young quarterbacks in Chicago, and I can't rule out Bagent would be better starter for this team. Ooh, interesting take. Maybe, because Bagent is more Goff-like, which is what Ben Johnson has the history with. So that I think it's a pretty good assumption there.
So our same 4 starting 4 in the running back room will be the starting 4 this year, because we got rid of everybody else. It'll be Gibbs, Monty, Netflix, and Sione Vaki.
Right.
That's and our quarterback.
Any questions anyone had about Sione Vaki, I believe, was probably answered 2 preseasons games ago when he averaged 6 yards a carry. So Ben Broski says it takes a Goff to run Ben's offense. It's complicated. It is.
That's a very good observation, actually.
It is. But what the Goffense was about was Ben Johnson molding it around what Goff did well. And that's what he's supposed to be doing with Caleb in Chicago. So we'll see if that happens. Fred, welcome back, Fred. Good to see you again. Hooker didn't surprise me. It's amazing how many people were screaming they wanted Hooker to start over Goff. I know that's right. I was not one of those people.
I said it was a possibility if he developed, and I will admit that I said that. I said when we re-signed Goff that it was a good contract, not for the average per year, for how they stretched it out, made the balloon payment so they can restructure later on, which that's next year, people. That's going to happen because there is no Hooker behind him. There's nobody standing on the street corner waiting to take his spot now.
Right. You're saying Hooker and street corner in the same sentence. It's getting to me. Ron says, why do the Lions choke in the playoffs? You want to field that one, Jay?
Well, let's see. Last year, we had both our coordinators know that they were going to be head coaches at other teams. We had a vanilla playbook that didn't equal out as good as we thought, but on offense, we scored 31 points despite the turnovers, yet the defense couldn't stop a cold. As soon as Amik Robertson went down, Washington scored at will.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to accept that answer, Ron. My answer is going to be a little different, and that is that there was only one team last year that didn't choke, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. There's only one team last year that had a successful season, and unless you're an Eagles fan, which I don't think you are, your team choked too.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about how his team choked. He's a Bear fan.
Oh well, okay.
They won their Super Bowl in Week 18. They beat Green Bay for the first time since Christ was a child.
They've been to 2 Super Bowls and they won 1. So they're always going to have that on us until we can change that narrative. So that's fair. Now in 2023 against the 49ers, we won 2 playoff games, made it to the title game. Yes, that was a choke. Up by 17, the biggest choke maybe in all of sports history. In my opinion.
There was one more.
Go ahead.
One that's worse. Atlanta Falcons versus the Patriots up 31-3 at half.
28-3 at half, not 31. But definitely that is a big choke too because it's in the Super Bowl. But you're against Tom Brady, right?
I don't care. Yeah,
Brock Purdy is not Tom Brady.
And that was the last conversation I had with my oldest son. I said, don't count Tom Brady out.
And also, Dan Quinn, the coach of that Falcons team, would not have kicked a field goal gone for it on 4th down multiple times. He would have kicked the field goal. And had you kicked the field goal on every possession, you'd have won the game. So, yeah, that's a choke, Ron. You get to have that one. Never been to a Super Bowl. Okay, you got us on that. But we beat your ass over and over and over. And we ran through the division like a gas station burrito last year. Undefeated on the road, back-to-back division champions. So you can take that.
Look at that one.
The Bears didn't choke. They stepped on a landmine. Eberflus was flushed, and he's caught in the drain. Hey, got to give Matt Eberflus credit, though. When he took over that defense, it did a 180.
Yeah, and that's the only thing that I think is really going to help their team to win games this year is the defense more than the offense.
Yeah.
Because that complicated offense is going to take some time to develop.
Right. And you don't have a guy like Jaquan Brisker in the back last year on the back end. That's huge. That guy's a playmaker, and they're going to have him back this year. And they've revamped the offensive line. They've revamped the defensive line. And they've got a pretty damn good play caller over there on the sideline now. So Bears are not going to give me nothing to scoff at this year. I don't care what anyone says. I could easily see them winning 9 games.
Yeah, I said 7 to 9 games
easily,
automatically. I said they're 2 games better on accident.
Broski says, yeah, he's just not a good DC. I think you mean HC.
I've read the seafood foil. Uncle Rumble's on it today.
The comments are on fire today.
Yes, yes. We don't have to do the King of Sting. They're in the comments. That
So-
being said, but
so
there is
not
one that
only-
is not on that list. Also, it's the North Dakota State University UDFA Mason Miller was waived as well.
Yep, Mason Miller, offensive lineman. Mitchell Agude, you said. Also, ESPN released its top 100 players today, Jeremy. Did you happen to see that?
No, I did not. I would love to hear this.
The Detroit Lions had more players in the top 100 than any team in the NFL.
Oh, wow.
I think they were tied with the Eagles. I didn't get a chance to count them all, but as I looked over it, I didn't see anything more than Lions. Here are the Lions that are in the top 100 players in the NFL. Number 14, Penei Sewell. 16, Aiden Hutchinson. At 33, it's Jahmyr Gibbs. That seems low to me. There are 32 other teams you'd rather have, or players you'd rather have than Jahmyr Gibbs.
But you remember, they're also with defense, offense, and everything.
I get it. But 33 seems a little low for me. Maybe I'm a homer. I'm biased. Okay. Amon-Ra St. Brown, number 42.
Now that's
That one
low.
I'll know is too low.
Yeah, that he should have
Ryan
been.
Branch at 51, and he's ranked ahead of the All-Pro who plays the same position, Kirby Joseph, at 60. Somebody make that make sense.
Yeah, you're talking about the interception leader. 2 of his 4 years he's been in the league now.
An All-Pro last year, but yet he's rated below Brian Branch. At
Brian
51.
Branch is getting still some notoriety from being on the national championship team he was on. I think that has something to do with it. He's still getting a little bit of that college SEC love.
Okay, maybe. And also, he only had 1 year at safety. And
Right.
and he was a frontline nickelback, too, one of the best in the league, playing nickel before that. So maybe that versatility gives him a few extra points and gets him up higher on the list. Kirby Joseph at 60. Below Kirby Joseph, number 66, Jared Goff.
Oh.
Jared Goff.
Oh,
In the top 100. And then the last Detroit Lion in the top 100 is ranked by ESPN, Sam Laporta at number 83.
I don't disagree with who's in there.
You don't agree with it?
I said I don't disagree with who's in there out of
Oh,
the line.
absolutely. That's 8 players, folks. 8 players. So you can take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles and stroke Howie Roseman all you want. But the fact is, the Philadelphia Eagles are 1 year ahead of us drafting.
There we go.
They're 1 year ahead of us. So they killed the draft last year with the 2 DBs that they took. We did not. Ennis Rakestraw did not pan out yet. And Terrion Arnold had an up and down rookie season. So when you look at it that way, we are still not at the top of that mountain. We're still looking up at the Philadelphia Eagles in that respect, but they do have a year head start on us. 8 players in the top 100 for the Detroit Lions as ranked by ESPN. You're watching the Main Event Football Show on the Huddle Sports Network on Roku TV. You're also watching on Radio 360 Network and the Motor City Kneecap Biters on YouTube. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Yes, Penei Sewell, Fred, was number 14. He was the highest-rated Lion in the top 100. Another All-Pro.
Amen. Yeah.
So, Michael, we are barreling towards the beginning of the NFL season, specifically the Detroit Lions season. September 7th against Green Bay at Ford Field North in the litter box in Green Bay. Love that the scheduler makers gave us 2 right out of the gate in the division. A lot of teams, I believe almost all the teams in the NFL, start this season with division games.
There is 2 interdivisional games. You know what I'm saying? Where they're not in their division.
Then that would have to be 4 teams.
Yep, 4 teams.
Okay.
4 teams
So
that do not play in their own division.
Okay, so week 1 slate, there are only 2 games that are not a division matchup. And I know we're all excited. September 7th. Today is August the 25th. So we're in that bye week between the final preseason game and the first regular season game. This is a ramp up. Everybody starts to get excited. But you know what else this is? This is also barreling towards fantasy football draft as well. And I am just as excited for fantasy football draft as I am as the regular season. There's only one draft day for your league. You can play daily fantasy sports if you like, but if you're in an established league like myself, draft day is everything, and everything is leading up to draft day. Do you have any tips for us, Jeremy? Anything that's piquing your curiosity? Give away some of your secrets, unless some of the people you play against are watching this show and you don't want to do that. How excited are you for fantasy?
I'm excited. I'm in 4 fantasy leagues this year for the first time in my life. I usually max it out at 2 to 3. I did 4. One of them's actually a pay to play in the Huddle Sports Network, no less.
All right.
My thing is normally I don't like to go homer unless I'm in a homer type where it's a bunch of the same fans. And then it's like you got to take them early and earlier than you wanted. And I had the first pick overall last night. And I could have grabbed Jay Jetta. I could have grabbed Jamar Chase. No. Guess who I grabbed?
Saquon Barkley.
Gibbs.
You took Jahmyr Gibbs number 1?
Yes.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
You know why? He was still rated a top 5 pick. And when I looked at it, he's rated a top 5 pick right now. And how they rank Bijan Robinson, who's had less stats in front of him, I do not understand, because they don't have an O-line still.
Right. I love this call out. And this goes to what I was going to say tonight. You can get whatever resources you like, whether that's a magazine or a website, but you need some sort of reference to look at ADP, which stands for average draft position. And you need to be able to see if you're getting value. And right now, Gibbs's ADP is going anywhere from 4 to 8. He's not going number 1. And this is what I want to tell you, folks. Trust you. Trust what you like. Jeremy liked Jahmyr Gibbs over all those other guys, number 1, because he feels that next year we're going to be talking about this season as Jahmyr Gibbs should have went number 1 with the production he had. Now, I have some questions there, especially with this offensive line, with this new play caller. I would not feel comfortable enough to take Jahmyr Gibbs at number 1. I do like to take a running back, though. I would probably take Bijan or Saquon Barkley. By the way, learned yesterday, we've been saying his name wrong for 2 years. It's not Bijan, it's Bijan. So there's that. So that led me to my possible fantasy football team name that I was going to come up with. Bed, Bath, and Bijan. No, nothing. Crickets. Okay. Maybe it's not a winner. Turn your head and golf. That's what I'm going to go with.
Mm-hmm. But
put it in the comments. Want to hear what your fantasy football name is. Try to keep it family friendly, as long as it's not too explicit.
It was going to be the Michigan Maulers because I like doing alliteration. But because the inaugural winner said that we did a mock draft the night before, and at 2, he took Jahmyr Gibbs for the same reason why I took him at 1. I ended up with 4 of the Lions that he wanted on my roster overall because it's a keeper league. So you want youth, right?
You do. In a keeper league, you want young players.
Right. So I did end up with JMO. I did end up with Gibbs. And as a sleeper pick later on in my backups, I did grab Isaac Tesla in case he catches fire.
Yeah, in a keeper league, I think if you can get Isaac Tesla beyond the 9th round, you jump on that.
I got him in the 10th.
Very good. Very good.
And I got Goff in there. But my backup quarterback is Cam Ward, which I took in the 12th round.
Is this a super flex league? 2 quarterbacks?
No. Oh, I wish it was a super flex. I was trying to push for that.
So who's your starting quarterback?
My starting quarterback is Goff.
Oh, you're a homer. You took J-Mo, Goff, and Gibbs. You're a homer.
And Monty.
And Monty. Yeah. You're a homer. All right.
Hey, I'm a homer.
Go with Jahmyr Gibbs. He says that's the type of pick that wins a draft.
Right. But also I thought about it because they talked about it and that Johnny Martin plans on using Gibbs also split out more as a split end while Monty's running the ball, which in a PPR league, that makes a hell of a lot of sense to have Gibbs and Goff and J-Mo all on the same team, because that's where you're going to see a bulk of your targets going.
Pardon me. Do you have any gray Bichon?
Yeah, we used to pull up to people back when those commercials were on all the time and say, "Pardon me, do you have any gray poop on?"
Oh, jeez.
And put that dramatic pause in there.
And Emily liked it. Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll keep trying.
Yeah.
But fantasy is coming, and go with who you like. Trust you, like Jeremy did. He wanted Jahmyr Gibbs at number 1. The one thing that's really getting me is last year I took Christian McCaffrey, and I've vented about this on this program before. Kyle Shanahan lied to everyone. He misled everyone and made us think that Christian McCaffrey was going to play, and he didn't. He ruined my season, and I have to give that beautiful trophy over my shoulder. I have to give it back this year because of it. Well, Mike McDaniel for the Miami Dolphins, head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Devon Achane is going really high in drafts right now. And I don't want my viewers to get burned. If I can help you here, there was a soundbite that I heard on satellite radio yesterday. Mike McDaniel was asked about a calf injury that Devon Achane has. And his answer was, could be a few days, could be a few weeks. I don't like that. Mike McDaniel comes from the Kyle Shanahan tree. He's his little, he was a ball boy for his dad when Kyle Shanahan's dad was coaching Super Bowls in Denver. And this is where Mike McDaniel came from. He never played. He just came up through the ranks. I've bashed Mike McDaniel many times on this program. I don't expect he'll be the Dolphins coach next year. But I don't like his response. Could be a few days, could be a few weeks.
Right.
I am staying away from Devon Achane. I was real high on him last week, right up to last week, but now I'm scared. Because of what McDaniel's mentor did to me last year, I am gun shy. I'm staying away from Devon Achane. A lot of players are taking Devon Achane above Jahmyr Gibbs. They're taking him above Josh Jacobs. His ADP is above Josh Jacobs. And you know who else he's taking him above? Christian McCaffrey. There is no buzz about Christian McCaffrey having any injury at all. He seems to be 100% healthy.
Right.
Then why did they just acquire Brian Robinson from the Commanders? They already have Isaac Guerrero, who's a good young back. Say again?
They're doing it to limited snaps because Dehan, like Christian McCaffrey, is great at the bubble screen. Brian Robinson, like Christian McCaffrey, is good at the bubble screen. We saw that with Jaden Daniels last year, which is Brock Purdy's bread and butter. And with that degenerative tendonitis that Christian McCaffrey have, his Achilles tendon is weaker than a toothpick.
So would you be inclined to stay away from CMC in drafts then?
I would if it's before pick around 5. If you get him to fall.
Oh no, he's not making it out of round 2, Jeremy.
Right. But I'll tell you what rule I followed. Who's ever on the cover of Madden, I don't draft that year. Guess who's on the cover of Madden this year? Saquon Barkley.
The Madden curse.
Last year it was Christian McCaffrey.
And then there's the sophomore slump. Do you think Jaden Daniels hits a sophomore slump this year?
He could, but he's got a good coach. We saw Dan Quinn with the young quarterback before make things happen down in Atlanta.
For sure. So back to Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson. Now, what has made Kyle Shanahan so prolific as a play caller is the zone running scheme that he learned from his dad out in Denver that made Terrell Davis a star. Almost every running back who's ever been in that system has done well. Brian Robinson, however, is not that kind of runner. Brian Robinson is a goal line. He's a between the tackles pounding back. So I'm not sure that's a great fit. Isaac Guerrero, CMC, these are the first 2 guys. Why did they bring Brian Robinson in? I'm a little scared of drafting CMC. I know he's going in, not making it out of the second round in a single draft. You won't see him make it to the 3rd round, but it's a little bit sketchy for me. Want you guys to be aware of it. It's the same with Devon Achane for me. Also, Derrick Henry, 32 years old. He looked like a man possessed last year. He wasn't drafted in most drafts till the second round last year. He's going right around the turn of the first, second round this year. I like him there. But the guy's a beast. All right. I just, if he's there, I got to take him. I feel like he's one of the top 5 fantasy producers in the whole league, and I got to take him if he's there.
I think it was round 13 when I took my defense, and I got the Broncos defense. I think I'm in good shape.
I like the Broncos defense. I also like the Lions defense this year, and I'll tell you why. With Kelvin Shepard having an emphasis on getting the ball out and taking the ball back. We've heard it from Dan Campbell. We've heard it from Kelvin Shepard. We've heard it from the players that is being preached and shoved down their throat. On every play in the preseason, we saw the Lions defense swarming to the ball, trying to punch it out, rip the ball out. I think this Lions defense, even if they're not ranked in the top 10 in points allowed, they might be one of the top scoring defenses in the league this year if they're able to follow through with what they're being coached up to do. So I do like the Lions defense this year. And
let's just look at the last 2 joint practices where it was the ones versus ones all day. In the 2 days, they forced 6 interceptions and 2 fumbles in the 2 days. 4 each day for the interceptions. That's crazy good.
Yeah, and that's fantasy production.
Right.
So last week, I think it was Broski Bear or one of our viewers last week brought up a name to me as a sleeper pick. I said, yeah, put it in the comments. What's your sleeper pick? And they gave me a player I had never heard of. And I was like, okay, I'm the host. I should know my stuff. Okay, why does this guy know about this player and I don't? So I did some research. That player was Joy Krosky Merritt, who is a running back for the Washington Commanders. And I did some research on him, watched some highlights of him. And look, guys, I'm warning you on this one. This is not a good fantasy pick for you. Krosky Merritt is going to make the team. But Dan Quinn himself, I found an interview with Dan Quinn, just like we see these interviews with Dan Campbell on the podium. The Commanders have that too. And I went and watched Dan Quinn, and he said, quote, Chris Rodriguez is going to be our goal line back and our short yardage back. So if Chris Rodriguez, who was an outstanding running back in college, he's a lot cheaper. He's about $3 or $4 million a year cheaper than Brian Robinson. If he's going to do the short yardage back, we've already established that Brian Robinson is a between the tackles, grinded out runner. If you've got this guy who's better or as good and $4 million cheaper, Dan Quinn came out and said, this is going to be our short yardage back. And you've got Austin Eckler, who's going to be the pass catching back. He's going to be your third down back. What does that leave for Krosky Merritt? Well, what that leaves is between the 20s. First down between the 20s. You're going to be looking at about 3 to 6 fantasy points per game if that's what he is. I'm sorry, but on a late rounder like that, this is his first year in the league. I'm not going to take a draft pick on a guy that I don't know about, and his upside, his ceiling is 6 points per week. I'm not going to do it. You'd be better off with Alec Pierce from Indianapolis. Will probably have more production than that guy. And I actually like Brian Robinson in Frisco as a better fly or dart throw than Krosky Merritt now that I've done my research on it. But thank you so much. Whoever that was last week that gave me that name, they're calling him JCM. It's Joik Krosky Merritt, but yet somehow they want to call him Bill. I don't know. But it's Krosky-Merritt, and he is a running back for the Washington Commanders, and they released Brian Robinson because they like this guy, but I would not take a flyer on him. Go for what you know. Maybe I'd be wrong. I've been wrong many times.
I'll agree with that. I would love it. Lions beat the Packers week 1, and the Bears destroy the Vikings, and we can send both flamers crying. I like it.
Vikings fans are some sensitive little sissies. Whoa, it's getting It's getting ruthless in here, man.
Yes, sir.
What made everything turn? Like, we're just Ron here, just coming out swinging on every team but his last place team in the division.
That's Robbie DeFeo there, the Mad Yinzer. He was talking to some Viking fans, and they got really sensitive about J.J. McCarthy.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, Minnesota is land of 10,000 lakes. It's Vikings tears, Vikings fans tears that fill those lakes. But Ron coming out swinging at every team except his. We've admitted a few shortcomings of our team. Your team came in last, 2 years in a row in this division? I get it, though. We're Lions fans. We've been swinging from the bottom a long time. Now it's time for us to start punching down.
At least our quarterback doesn't look like this after the Thanksgiving Day game.
Oh, my. Let's keep that off of here. You can have that on your show.
I want to.
I don't like racist or homophobic or any of that.
No, come on. It was fun. It's all
good. It's all good. All right.
But yeah, you're right. Week 1, this is what we want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what, Jeremy? I'll tell you right now. If we were to lose to the Packers in week 1, it wouldn't be that big of a surprise to me when you consider the loss of Ragnow, the loss of the play callers. That's a lot to overcome. These holes the loss of Zeitler on the O-line. That game is going to be close. The Packers are favored by 1.5 in the game. So
the Lions are only not favored in 5 games all season.
The Chiefs, the Ravens, the Packers, and who?
The Commanders.
No,
it's the Commanders and Eagles back-to-back weeks. Yes.
And that's 5, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And they're all less than 3 points. Every single one of them that they're favored less than is 3 points for the odds makers starting out. And that's kind of telling. And all of them are on the road. Oh, I was bringing it up for you.
Yinzer with a good one here, saying they got sensitive, asking if they really wanted Kenny Pickett as a backup if it got released by the Browns. Well, the Vikings signed Carson Wentz, and they traded Sam Howell to the Eagles. So I wonder about that one, Jeremy. I want your opinion. Do you think it's they just weren't happy with Howell, or they saw something in Wentz?
I think it was a little of both, but at the same time, why the Eagles wanted Howell is because they used to face him 2 times a year. In that last year, during that 8-game stretch, they played the Eagles early, and he went 1-1. He torched the Eagles in both games. They damn near won the other game.
That's a great call out. I love that analysis of that. Something I never thought of that.
Because you remember through week 8, that last year he was with Washington as a starter. He was considered a front runner for MVP when the first MVP voting came out, because he was leading the league in yards, leading the league in touchdowns, and I think he only had 3 interceptions. Then they lost both tackles and their center to injury over the next 2 weeks, and he got more sacks than Caleb Williams did all last season.
And they realized he was not the answer. But the kid's a gamer. Sam Howell's a gamer. And Carson Wentz hasn't started a meaningful game in over 3 years.
Right.
So I wonder about this. The kid's a gamer. Maybe he just wasn't picking up KOC's offense.
Right. And that's what I think it was. I think his confidence got rattled when he didn't win the starting job, when he went as a free agent and competed, and he didn't win the starting job with the Seahawks. I think that kind of rattled his confidence. And so now he goes to a free agent. He ends up not making the team, or he got traded for, if I remember right, during the draft, right? Yeah.
Carson Wentz?
No. Sam Howell. The Vikings acquired Sam Howell during the draft with a trade. They traded their day 3 pick, because they only ended up with 4 picks in the draft that year.
Correct. Yeah, I don't remember how they acquired Howell. You're probably right on that.
It was the beginning of either the end of day 2 or the beginning of day 3. They got Sam Howell. I can't remember which for sure.
Fred's in the chat says Packers are always favored first game of the season. It's all big media BS. Remember the last time the Packers opened the season versus the Lions in Lambeau? No, I don't.
I
Fresh
don't
in my
either.
memory. I don't remember that. The last time we opened the season in Lambeau, I do not remember that. We
Yeah,
ended the season in Lambeau recently,
Lots of times.
lots of times. But
Matter of
no,
fact, that was one of our biggest gripes. You know, when we did have a good team, it would come down to that last game and be facing the Packers.
I keep doing this, and the beard is gone. And
But you had a visitor show up underneath that beard. What is that?
yeah, I lost a beard but gained a chin. Thanks for pointing that out, JB.
Well, you said you were going to talk about it earlier, so I figured I'd bring it up.
Thanks for pointing that out, JB. Lost a beard, gained a chin. But hey, we appreciate everybody who's watching here today. We will be back again next Monday. JB, when can people see you next?
They will see me tomorrow at noon, as usual, Monday through Friday at noon, and then Wednesdays and Fridays at 9 on my channel. And anytime I'm a guest, which is Tuesday night, Thursday night, and soon, starting week 1, on Saturday night, I'm doing a fantasy football show.
On Saturday night's fantasy football show.
Starting
All
week
right,
1.
I like it. I've been dedicating the last quarter of my show, last 15 minutes of every show to fantasy because I'm just so hyped up about it. It's something I'm really passionate about. I've been playing for a very, very long time. I think I started playing fantasy football 1990. I started playing. The current league that I'm in with the big trophy behind me here, that league going on its 23rd year. So I'm really passionate about it, and I love it. I would definitely love to tune in to the fantasy show you're going to be doing, Jeremy. Unfortunately, Saturdays are tough. I'm a musician. I'm usually playing on Saturdays, but
I would like to mention something that happened Wednesday night during the NFL roundtable talks. I do.
Go ahead. We got 7 minutes.
Okay. It's something you would be surprised. We trended on Twitter because we had 1,254 viewers on one channel.
Nice.
I never trended on Twitter before, so I'm kind of excited about that.
And was that on your own Twitter?
No, I was in Ken the Bear fan's Twitter, no less.
Oh, so you're on a Chicago Bear fans Twitter, and a bunch of people were watching. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's great that the show trended is what I'm getting at.
so there you go. Anywhere where you're watching this, you can also see Jeremy B coming up all week long, and then look for him on Saturday nights for his fantasy show. Jeremy, thanks for being on the show today.
I appreciate it, Mike. Have a great day.
All right, that was JB. So every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch me right here on the Main Event Football Show. Thanks, everyone, for watching. If you're watching on the rebroadcast, put something in the comments, say hello, because I love to keep those comments rolling. God bless each and every one of you. Peace out.
Yeah, yo, it's game time, ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports, just tune in, my friends. Catch us on Roku.